Yo, what's up guys? And today we are going to check out the Bricks and MiniFigs case explained because I wanted to research it when it went viral a couple weeks ago, but forgot about it until I saw a video by Law by Mike talking about it. And he's a lawyer, and everyone knows you could always trust the words of a lawyer, right? But nah, in all seriousness, let's check it out and see what this case is really about.
A $200,000 Lego dispute that's turning into
$200,000 worth of Legos? I love Legos myself, but my gosh, I don't know much about the story, but if I got robbed of $200,000 of Legos, right, I'm walking into Legos HQ and I'm just taking stuff. I'm sorry, but it's cooked. It's cooked at that point.
one of the craziest legal cases in years. Brian Mansell claims that Bricks and MiniFigs stole one of the largest Lego collections in the world, and the YouTuber who tried to get it back got arrested. So today, I'm trying to answer one question: who's legally responsible? And it all started with this.
Yeah, and are they actually pursuing it? Like, I'm not gonna like talk about it because, like I said, I know genuinely nothing. I actually thought it was a YouTuber that got in trouble for exposing someone or something. I wasn't quite sure about the story, but that's even wilder that someone got robbed and a YouTuber investigated it for him and then got cooked himself. I wonder, did he actually get convicted? Did he actually go to jail?
This consignment agreement. A few years ago, the owner of a massive Lego collection, Brian Mansell, signed this agreement with a Bricks and MiniFigs store run by Crystal Law Gorman. The agreement says the store would sell the collection, keep a percentage of each sale, and pay the owner the rest. But the important point is that the Mansell family would still own the Lego until it sold. Almost a year later, Brian drives out to the store and finds different people running it. Bam!
Yo, I would be livid. I would, if I went there and just saw like a whole new staff, it would be insane.
Franchising. The company behind Bricks and MiniFigs, also known as BAM, had ended Crystal.
So Bricks and MiniFigs is a different company than Lego? I didn't know that. Like, I thought it was Lego just making a different product. Because they make different products all the time, like their new like electronic bricks that no one's gonna use.
Law Gorman's franchise agreement and taken over the location. Crystal says BAM wrongfully took over the store, changed the locks, and seized everything inside. But BAM says it had the right to take over the franchise because Crystal allegedly fell behind on payments and planned to close the store.
Okay, even if she allegedly fell behind by payments, how do you get to keep the product? Why is that a law? I know that's like if you buy a house and there's already stuff in it, it's kind of yours. But my gosh, they should like be given a day to go get their stuff, and Bricks and MiniFigs should have let them know. I don't know. That seems that's such a stupid reason to lose all the product inside the store.
Afterwards, the Mansell family says they weren't allowed to go inside to check on their own collection, and the monthly payments stopped. Then Brian sent a letter ending the deal. He asked for the Lego back, the money owed, and sales records showing what had already been sold. He gave them 10 days.
That's fair. Like, I'm gonna be honest. The thing about the Lego is Lego goes up at so much, especially if you're like collecting it, a whole set. Imagine if they just paid out like the money that it was like retail. That would suck compared to the actual collection itself. And I'm a collector myself of Pokemon cards. I'd be very angry if I'm just getting compensated for it.
10 days passed. The family says they still didn't get the Lego, the money, or the records. That's why this case is crazy. The original store owner says BAM is responsible, but BAM says this was never their deal. What's clear is that someone owes Brian money. Now, as a lawyer, this is where I start asking, who had control? Who had notice? And who has the records? In my opinion, refusing to produce any records could suggest that BAM is worried about legal exposure. Maybe they made an error, or
well, I would assume, personally, that the reason BAM is just being quiet on it, even if they aren't liable, isn't that like just marketing 101, where if you're not sure about a case or you are wrong and you're liable, then you're just going to be quiet because that could be the worst defamation to a company. And that's the issue. Lego is such on fraud watch, because I'm going to be honest, their sets have to only cost like, what? Maybe $50 to make, and they'd be charging like the Pikachu set. It was like 200 bucks. I haven't built it yet, but my gosh, Lego's already on fraud watch.
maybe They don't want to risk producing something that people could interpret as them making a mistake. Later, we'll discuss a YouTuber who tried to help bring attention to this very issue. But first, who's responsible for the lost Lego? Crystal, the original person who ran the store, says Bam knew about the consignment. She says the collection was still inside the store. She told Bam who owned it, and they took it anyways. And she claims to have security camera evidence showing this.
Because taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment market.
BAM's CEO, Ammon McNeff, said, "We were not a party to this agreement. Simply, BAM is saying they didn't sign the contract. They didn't approve the contract, and they shouldn't be responsible."
Well, why can't, if the company knew, why can't this lady just take out, I'm sure, right, when you sign a document with someone, you keep copies, right? Why couldn't she just release the contract, or BAM vice versa, just releasing the contract without any signatures and being like, this is the information? The fact of the matter is that they're like holding the contracts, in my opinion, the very uneducated opinion, by the way, I think BAM is just trying to keep as much of a reputation as they can. But the issue is, the more quiet they are on the matter, makes them look guilty AF, dude. It genuinely makes them look so guilty when you're just like withholding so much information.
Responsible for the Lego. Their main argument is that Crystal broke company rules because consignment deals were not allowed under its franchise guidelines. Crystal disputes that. In fact, Crystal shows in this video that the franchise agreement does allow for consignment services. If true, that complicates BAM's argument, but BAM can still argue this particular consignment was never approved by corporate. But company...
Yeah, I get that. And sorry, I pause a lot, by the way, so if you don't like that type of content, I pause a lot. Because like I said, I'm not like crazy educated or crazy IQ or whatever, but I do like to just have an opinion and try to think about it myself. And with BAM, like, if they did that and they're like, oh, we never do consignment deals, and then she releases that they do consignment deals, and then they go out and be like, oh, well, we don't do that consignment deal. That is the worst type of, like, that will destroy the brand reputation.
Rules aren't the same thing as property law. The Mansells never signed BAM's franchise manual. They allegedly signed a consignment agreement with the Bricks and MiniFigs store. And under that agreement, they argue they still owned the Lego. And according to Crystal, BAM knew about the consignment deal. If a court believes that, BAM's "we were not a party" defense gets weaker. Because even if BAM didn't sign the original consignment agreement, if they were on notice and knew about the Mansell Legos prior to taking over, then a court could still find them responsible. BAM also argues the agreement allegedly had...
Well, wouldn't they just... The smartest thing for them to do is try to settle out of court, right? You know, settle out of court, give some Lego things. But honestly, I think the collection is really what hurts the most, because if you have a whole collection, certain products are so far gone that if you can't recover that anymore, these people have been holding on to years. Kind of like the Pokemon packs that are like $15,000 for an OG pack.
A line that matters a lot now. It said Crystal was responsible for shortages, loss, or damage while the Star Wars Lego was in her control. It also said she had insurance. And BAM points to another detail. They claim the collection was not kept at the store after the public display. So they argue this is Crystal's responsibility. If they were not in the store when BAM took over, then that would suggest the Lego were not in their control and would strengthen their defense. That still leaves the bigger question. What happened to the family's Lego after BAM took over? The Mansells say they marked their items with yellow dot stickers on the UPC codes. And according to them, after BAM took over, Brian sent a buyer into the store who bought a sealed set from the shelf. It had a yellow dot. And the family...
Okay, so the issue with this is, did the company, the original company, did they tell BAM, like, they should have told BAM, do not sell the yellow stickers. And if BAM didn't know, couldn't that strengthen their defense? I don't know. Someone let me know, because I'm genuinely curious, because all they have to say is, oh, well, we didn't know about these figures. We were never told. And I feel like that would just save their company. Even if they're guilty or not, that would be the logically thinking from a company perspective, all you'd have to do is just be like, we didn't know about the yellow dots.
Family says they were never paid for that sale. Crystal even alleges Bam removed the yellow dots from the sets. If true, that's one of the most damaging.
Okay, yeah, if they did that, they're cooked. They are so cooked. Never mind. Right? Take everything I just said away. Because if they took off the yellow dots, they knew about them.
Facts in the case, because removing the tags could suggest that Bam took intentional steps to make Brian's property harder to trace. Now, Bam says they only found between $2,000 and $5,000 worth of items that could possibly be related to the Mansell collection and offered to return them as a courtesy.
Well, yeah, that's cooked, right? No. The companies are off. Oh, so many huge companies are so corrupt, by the way. So I'm not ever going to defend them. But literally, why don't you just try to settle it as quickly as possible? Because if you don't, then you're going to just destroy your reputation. And Bricks and MiniFigs, they're definitely partnered with Lego, at least to an extent, right? So wouldn't Lego, if they keep getting this heat, wouldn't Lego just pull their partnership with them? I would personally, because why destroy the whole Lego brand when you could just be like, oh, that's Bricks and MiniFigs. That isn't us. We're making our mechanical bricks that nobody's going to use.
But if Mansell marked items were still being sold from the store after the takeover, that could contradict what Bam is saying. Bam also disputes the value. The Mansells say the collection was worth over $200,000. Records reviewed by a third party put the value at roughly $60,000 to $98,000 for the box sets alone. Regardless of the value.
Okay, so there's something like going on with the value thing, but couldn't they easily, because most collectors have at least a trace. Me personally, I have every single Pokemon card down in a database. I'm not sure like if there's an app for Lego things or whatever, but I feel like most collectors would probably write it down. So why couldn't they just turn that in and be like, oh, we had every single product here and we want this back? And I don't know, I feel like you'd have photos and stuff, no? That's what's a little bit sketchy about the case.
Value under Oregon law, if prosecutors can prove theft and
again, right, I am not saying anyone's guilty. I don't know anything about the thing. This is the first video I have seen on it. So if I say something out of pocket or wild, that's just me yapping, okay?
and the value is over $10,000, that can become aggravated theft in the first degree. And because the father, Ed Mansell, is 83 years old, Oregon's elder financial abuse law could also matter in a civil case. If a court finds financial abuse of someone 65 or older, damages can triple. And then a YouTuber named Reckless Ben decided.
Hey, if I ever get scammed by a big company, right, I'm gonna list my grandfather's name. Right, my grandfather got scammed, not me, dude. Right, my grandfather got scammed. Let's bump that number up, okay?
Decided he was going to investigate it himself, which is where the story gets even stranger. Reckless Ben is a YouTuber who saw Brian's story online and decided he was going to help get the Lego back. Ben went to the Bricks and MiniFigs store with hidden cameras and asked the operators where the Mansell Lego was.
My friend said that you guys have some of his Legos, I think, and he told me to come here and see if I could pick them up.
Who's your friend?
I think they're Brian's Legos. It's like a big Star Wars collection set, I think.
That part is important legally because Oregon's recording law is not as simple as one-party consent. Video-only recording is different, but if a hidden camera is also capturing in-person audio, Oregon generally requires all the participants in the conversation.
Why? Because the thing is, I get for certain reasons, but if you're doing an investigation like that, they should have some sort of law where it's like trying to expose something or whatever to kind of be null and void. Basically something like this. I go in there, I'm trying to expose a big company. You can't just come in there with a whole camera crew. They're not going to be honest. So I get the third party consent. I do get that. However, like with a case like this, should he be arrested? I don't know.
To be informed of the audio recording. The video spread widely online, and Brian's case went from a local dispute to a national story. But then Ben allegedly did something that could hurt the whole case. At one point, Ben claimed one of the new store operators offered to return the sets if Mansell made a public apology. Mansell reportedly refused.
Yo, that's insane. Because from what I know about the law, and it's not much, but I know something like that can literally put fraudulent claims on the whole thing, and they're like, oh, well, this dude's sketchy, right, we're done. We're not doing this. This dude is a liar.
Refused because he believed an apology could hurt his legal case.
I need a written apology from Brian. I need all the negative comments taken off. I need positive reviews on there to make up for the damage. And then I'll give them back.
I'm not apologizing.
Wait, is that the actual, like, was that the real store? Because that is insane if the real store owner said that. Right, Bricks and MiniFigs will be cooked if that is a real worker of the store.
Ben then allegedly sent a fake AI apology video showing Mansell apologizing, apparently to see if that would get the sets returned. But according to Ben, it didn't work. Now that could seriously hurt a case. If one viral video is fake, a defense attorney can use that to attack the real videos too. They can ask the jury, if he fabricated this, how do we know the rest is real? Then Ben took...
Well, Ben didn't fabricate that, or the YouTuber fabricated that. I don't know. Is the YouTuber Ben? I'm not quite sure. I've never heard of him. But I'm more saying, if the YouTuber did this, how could this hurt the original guy, like the guy that actually owned the collection? I don't really see how you could use that as a defense, as being like, oh, well, the YouTuber did this, not me. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
The story to Utah, where BAM is headquartered. But he didn't just go to the BAM office. BAM alleges Ben's team went to multiple private homes, dressed as delivery workers, approached a family member who wasn't involved in the business, and even sent someone who allegedly pretended to be from a church congregation to get one person out of their house.
Could that be harassment? I don't know. Let me know. Could that be harassment? Like, but I feel like this is more against the YouTuber, no? This isn't against the guy that owned the collection, because the YouTuber's doing this, not the guy.
The legal issue here is location and targeting. Filming from a public sidewalk is usually treated differently than going to private homes and using fake identities to draw people outside. And now there's a separate legal problem: the police response. In March 2026, Utah police reportedly arrested Ben and charged him with misdemeanor stalking, targeted residential picketing, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass. Ooh. Ben says officers stopped his group for running a stop sign, even though the footage allegedly shows a full stop. He says police searched the car for drugs, held them for about 3 hours, and found nothing. Police also searched the Airbnb where Ben...
Jeez, they went in there with like a full SWAT. Like, they had the guns. Did they really think this YouTuber was doing that much? I get he was going to a few houses, but people do that for content videos. I don't know. Police are such on fraud watch these days. They're, right, if there are good police officers, I will back them 1,000,000%. But it's sad to see how many police officers these days just... oh, I'm following orders. Oh, I was just taking direction. At what point is that an excuse anymore? You know?
Ben was staying. The warrant said they were looking for stolen Lego merchandise. If those stops, searches, or arrests lacked legal cause, then Ben's constitutional rights may have been violated. And in my opinion, that can mean Ben has a lawsuit against the police department. After the arrest, Ben claimed police injured what appeared to be his left shoulder. Then BAM filed its own lawsuit in Utah, which accuses Ben of trying to manufacture legal leverage. According to the complaint, Ben's team allegedly disguised a contract as a delivery signature.
With the AI thing, that really strengthens their argument, in my opinion, because all they have to say is, he did it the first time, right? He's been showing up to these houses, he documented this, that was fake, yada yada, whatever they're saying. But if he, like, the AI thing, in my opinion, really strengthens their argument.
BAM says a store manager thought she was signing for a package, but the document allegedly included a clause saying Ben couldn't be trespassed from the store. The complaint says that Ben allegedly claimed the store owed him $5,000 every time employees called police on him.
I kind of feel bad for the original guy, because this can hurt his argument. right? I'm not saying Ben is guilty or not guilty or whatever, but it seems like so much attention is going to this because I've seen more videos about the YouTuber than the actual case itself. So I just feel so bad for the original guy because it's gonna make his argument look so bad, especially if Ben is found liable.
Video screenshots attached to the complaint. Bam says,
because I don't know, I haven't seen Ben's video, but did the original guy ask for all this?
Ben later demanded $40,000 based on that alleged document. If true, that gives Bam a way to frame this content as alleged fraud, extortionate pressure, or harassment. So Bam requested a temporary restraining order to keep Ben away from the people and places connected to Bam. But that order didn't just ask the court to keep Ben away. It also sought to take down Ben's videos about the dispute. And get this, Bam even reached out.
That's wild. That is wild. Because keeping him away is one thing. Maybe he's crossed the line, sure. However, why can't you learn about the case? Why can't you see it from that perspective? That should only strengthen their argument, especially if he did fake a bunch of stuff as they claim.
To Patreon, trying to get Ben's content removed, but Patreon CEO denied the requests. And I see a big problem with this. Once you move from stopping contact to trying to remove videos and funding platforms, it starts looking less like protection and more like silencing criticism. And that can backfire for Bam if they want the public to believe that they did nothing wrong. And they didn't just go after Ben. They also sued Brian Mansell. That's
Bro, what? They sued Brian? Like I said, I feel so bad for Brian. Right? Brian Mansell. He's the guy that, I think he's the guy that owns it. Because, my gosh, the dude got his figures stolen. He's getting sued because a YouTuber got him into some heat. And support the YouTuber, don't support the YouTuber, that's one thing. However, the original dude is just going through so much.
That's important because Brian didn't make the alleged deepfake, and Brian didn't show up at anyone's house.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't do this. He didn't ask for this.
Argument is that Brian coordinated and
but in my opinion, this makes Bam look guilty. Look, because they're trying to almost, to me at least, it looks like they're trying to almost defame Brian's character.
directed Ben's campaign. Brian's side would likely argue this looks like a slap suit, which is a lawsuit designed to pressure someone into staying.
Okay, real quick, I'm sorry that I keep pausing it, but I do love to talk, I do. But, first off, this video is amazing. Love by Mike, but he has outlined it so well. When everyone else is making 45-minute to an hour videos, this is an amazing video. I just wanted to say that.
Quiet by making the fight expensive. Both Oregon and Utah have anti-slap style protections. But
oh yeah, they'll drain him out in court. That sucks. That really does suck. If he goes to court, all they have to do is just wait until they could drain him out of funds.
where the lawsuit is filed matters. Different states have different procedures, deadlines, and standards. BAM filed in Utah. Now, BAM will say this is not a slap. They'll say they're protecting their people from harassment, false claims, and dangerous conduct. And maybe they can prove that. But suing Brian is where this gets risky for BAM. Brian is the person asking where his family's collection went. In my opinion, if BAM wants the public to believe this is all just harassment and they are not responsible,
They should not be focusing on Brian at all. Because, sorry to cut off Mike here, but if they just attack the YouTuber and say he blew this out of proportion, he's yapping, and then tried to settle it quietly with Brian, that would have been the smartest action in my opinion.
the best evidence would be simple. Don't sue Brian, the person who's clearly been wronged. Instead,
Yeah, he's the
show
only
us the
one that
records.
is really
At this
actually
point,
guilty.
There are 4 legal fights
I mean, not guilty, innocent in my opinion. He just wants his collection back.
happening at the same time. The first is the reported criminal investigation in Oregon. Kaiser Police and the Marion County DA have been looking into what happened to the Lego. The allegations raise possible Oregon theft issues, including theft by deception, theft by receiving, and aggravated theft in the first degree. No criminal charges have been filed yet, but the investigation is just.
And I'm gonna be honest, couldn't he also sue for defamation? Like, let's say he wins this case. right? Couldn't he sue for defamation for them trying to say that he was colluding with the YouTuber guy? Because I feel like I would, and they really should be allowed, because it ruins his character if they're like, oh, he faked it all. He colluded with this YouTuber to make us look bad.
Described as still open. The second fight is Bam's lawsuit in Utah. The third is Ben's criminal case in Utah. Those charges are about what Ben did at private homes, not what happened to the Lego. But they still matter, because if Ben becomes a witness in the Oregon case, opposing lawyers can use his conduct to attack his credibility. And the fourth fight is Crystal Law Gorman's lawsuit against Bam.
Well, and the fact is that the original guy, I'm so bad with names, by the way. The original guy, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember his name. Sorry. But he kind of got screwed over in that video in a sense because he was in it. So couldn't they just be like, oh, well, he was in it. You don't know what was happening behind scenes, right? They could have been colluding to defame us and stalk us. But that one guy, he was only in it at the very beginning.
She says Brian still had about $100,000 to $125,000 in Lego at the store when Bam took over. Oregon investigators are asking what happened to the Lego. Brian is trying to recover the value of the collection. Bam is trying to stop Ben and Brian's campaign against them. Ben is fighting charges from the way he investigated the story. And Crystal is now suing Bam for allegedly taking over the store, seizing assets, and blaming her for missing inventory. Which brings us back to the question everyone keeps asking. Where's the Lego right now?
Yes.
Bam says they found between $2,000 and $5,000 worth of items that could
Well, they sold most of it. If there were yellow stickers being sold and they were taking stickers off boxes, it's gone. That collection is gone. If I was Brian, I would ask for the value of the collection and my collection back, because I'm sorry, bro is the only one that seems truly innocent in this, right? He just wants his figures back. Well, we all get that. Like, I understand it. I really do.
Possibly be related to the Mansell collection after Bam took over. Records reviewed by a third party put the box sets alone between roughly $60,000 and $98,000. If Bam only found $5,000 worth of possible Mansell-related items, at least $55,000 is still unaccounted for on the box sets alone. And if Brian's $200,000 number is right, then almost the entire collection is missing. But in Bam's complaint, they give their clearest answer yet to the missing Lego. Bam says it found one clue in the old point-of-sale records. According to them, the record showed 367 Star Wars lot set purchases.
Okay, well, they sold it all, right? I don't care if it was someone working in the store or whatever, right? Get the guy his money, because you're gonna screw over your company's reputation for just not wanting to pay out $90,000. You're a $1 billion company, I'd assume. They're probably up there. Bricks and MiniFigs been around since I've been a kid. Just pay the guy, get him what he needs, and it will make you look so much better. And then fight it out with the YouTuber in court.
With an estimated retail value of about $46,000, plus 336 Star Wars lot purchases worth about $12,600. But Bam Wars $46,000.
So $46,000.
336 Star Wars lot purchases worth about $12,600.
46 plus 12, and then what? They said they found 3,000 or just that wasn't sold. That does add up to that number of the valuation of 60,000, or like a little bit over 60,000. However, Brian is claiming that it's like 100,000. So if it is, where'd the rest of it go?
But Bam also admits a problem. Those records don't prove which exact sets were sold or whether they were Mansell sets. So the records could support Bam's theory.
One question about Bam though, couldn't they, I'm sure they have a stock report of what they send to stores, no? I would assume they would. You're sending however many Star Wars sets. So couldn't they just use the serial numbers of those Star Wars sets to figure out what is Brian's and what is theirs?
That a lot of the Lego was sold before corporate took over, but they don't fully answer the question.
Oh, never mind. Still though, they were supplying it to the store, right? Before Bricks and MiniFigs took over, weren't they helping supply to the store?
Meanwhile, Crystal says Bam has refused to provide the complete records back to her. This is probably one of the reasons she filed her lawsuit, so she can force Bam to produce those records. And according to Brian's side, the yellow dot purchase creates another problem. After Bam took over, someone connected to the investigation bought a sealed set from the store with the Mansell family yellow dot still on it. That means at least one Mansell item was still on the
Yeah, but if at least one Mansell item was sold, then let's be honest, all of them were sold, which Bam is definitely liable for because we saw these yellow dots and still chose to put them on the shelves. So Bam, in my opinion, is completely guilty. The YouTuber, unsure. His methods were a bit wild, and I really think that he could have hurt Brian's argument overall. But Brian, he just, pay the man.
The shelf after Bam took over, and the family says they were never paid for that sale. I gotta say, if this is true, it makes me wonder if one marked item was sold, how many more could have been sold? If I was arguing this in court, this would be a major argument.
Well, if one was sold, in my opinion, all of them could have been sold, because if I'm stocking shelves, I'm not gonna just grab one box, because one would assume that they're all together, right? All of Brian's stuff together, because they originally used it for display. So if I'm stocking something, I have a big collection of the yellow dot boxes. I'm not just putting one up, I'm putting all of them up.
Make for Ben. Bam later said it became aware of the consignment and said some items had been identified. They also offered to help through appropriate means. That's very different from their original statement. We were not a party to.
Yeah, they're cooked. They are cooked. But what does appropriate means mean? Oh, we're gonna help guys through appropriate means, which means you got caught in 4K and you're trying to save your credibility.
This agreement. Generally, if you're holding someone else's property, you have to account for it. You don't get to say, we only found a few items. If there are records or witnesses showing
you can't just be like, my bad, guys, right? Like, I know you loaned me $70,000, and I get it, but like, I don't got it today. Hit me up next week. That's essentially what they're doing.
May have been more. And Crystal says, Bam never completed this process and never provided real accounting. That's a big problem. At minimum, it suggests a sloppy takeover. At worst, Brian's side will argue it made the Mansell Lego harder to trace. Because once inventory is mixed, sold, moved, or stripped of tags, proving ownership gets much harder. Because the real question isn't whether the Lego was valuable. Everyone agrees it was. The real question is who had it last, and why can't they say where it went? Reckless Ben's video.
Yeah, do they not have purchases? They should, because essentially, right, if these Star Wars collection was made at a different time than all the Star Wars product there, couldn't they just have the different serial numbers? That would easily tell everything, because what, you're scanning items, they're scanning up different serial numbers for different Star Wars products, so different eras. Unless this is the store that sells older products, maybe, but I would assume that it would be easily traceable to find a whole lot of all these serial numbers, especially if they have one box.
Brought massive attention to this case. They helped force public responses that may not have happened otherwise. But the alleged deepfake, the home visits, and the confrontational tactics may also give Bam's lawyers arguments they can.
Yeah, I hate that for Brian. Like, I don't blame the YouTuber because I don't really know what was going through his head. I get he was trying to do something good, sure. But that just hurts Brian's argument and credibility so much when this guy's like doing AI videos and everything, especially in a point where AI deepfakes are everywhere.
Use against him. In court, that's extremely important. A defense lawyer can use Ben's methods to distract from Brian's evidence, especially if they can show a connection between the two. So right now, the Oregon investigation is described as still open. The lawsuits are pending, and the Mansell family says they still don't have the Lego. As a lawyer, what I can say, we don't yet have enough evidence to say who committed a crime or who is legally responsible. But
I'm gonna be honest, right?
I do have enough to say Brian deserves a full accounting and is owed money. If
Oh, I agree. I will say this, right? I don't know about the YouTuber. I don't know about Bricks and MiniFigs, but there's something sketchy going on with either the store, Bricks and MiniFigs, or just all of it together. And if they were partners with Bricks and MiniFigs, because it seemed like it was like a chain, like you buy into a chain. That's what it looked like to me. And if it's that, then Bricks and MiniFigs at the end of the day is still connected to this. So they should still have to write that check if their people cannot come up with the money. Because essentially, those same people that bought into their chain could not afford payments according to Bricks and MiniFigs. So Bricks and MiniFigs needs to at least have some restitution towards Brian.
Bam took over the store. Crystal had the collection, or the new operator sold any part of it. Someone should be able to produce records. Until that happens, the missing Lego remains a massive legal problem that needs to be solved. So
yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say, in my opinion, Brian needs to get paid by Bricks and MiniFigs. I don't know what's going on with the store. I don't know what's going on with the YouTuber. But if you have all of this sketchy stuff going on, they go out there and say, oh, well, it wasn't us. And then they're like, oh, well, we'll help out. We'll help out, guys. Then there's something going on to the point of Bricks and MiniFigs just needs to answer for their crimes. That's my uneducated personal opinion. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, and please leave a like and subscribe and leave something you want to see me react to or comment on or whatever. I'll see you next time.